Hey guys, it's Ross. We're here out today looking at my raspberries. Every morning I like to come out here. We like to pick as many as I can, and then we'll have just as much the next day. You can believe that. And the birds love these guys. So much so that I had to put organza bags on them, on the clusters of fruit. Previously, I've had bird netting, and I like to use the organza bags because they fruit in clusters here. You can slip the bag right over the cluster, except now the birds are eating through the bag. They're monsters. They're like inhuman, robotic birds eating my bags. I mean, come on. What's going on? But I am still getting some with the bags. They can't get to all of them, guys. These are really good. I mean, they're there. Um, that was pretty damn good. Let me give you guys a little shot of me eating them. I mean, what can I say? They're just better than the store. Um, Way better than the store. First off, you can pick them at the firmness that you like. So I find that there's some raspberries out there that are quite mushy, and I'm not a fan of that. You get them in the store, they also can be kind of mushy, but maybe I like them a little more firm, right? So I'll pick them maybe at this stage here. This is very firm. It's more hard, more crumbly, I guess, and more pleasant to eat maybe. Or maybe I like them soft, but I like them at full flavor, right? You can't really get these from the store at this flavor, at this quality. You just can't. Not only that, but if I haven't convinced you yet, raspberries and blackberries and mulberries, most berries are just so damn easy to grow that you literally just plant them, you mulch, you learn how to prune them, and you learn how to train them in the case of the raspberry, and you don't have to do anything other than that. It's that simple. I don't even water them, and every year they produce tons and tons of fruit. This is the first crop that comes in here on these clusters. This is on the old canes. This is the flora cane crop, but I also have varieties here. This is heritage. This is a prima cane variety. It actually fruits way more for me after this first crop finishes, because after this first crop finishes, you can see here's the color of the cane. It's brown, and then here's the new cane. This one has this is a prima cane with the second crop on it, similar to have figs have Breba and main crop. Breba is on last year's wood. That's exactly what this is. So this is the flora cane. Once this is done fruiting, this will die. You can kind of see it's already kind of starting to yellow in certain places. It's on the way out, guys, but it's fine because there's new prima canes that have come up in its place, and they will fruit for me very shortly after the first crop finishes. It's almost there's almost no time in between. It's so it's just right on. It doesn't stop. And as a result, because of that, because it doesn't stop, I get raspberries from the end of June until frost. These prima canes will continue to produce until a frost hits them and temperatures start to really cool down and slow the metabolisms of these plants. here we have another variety called Caroline. Caroline is my favorite of the red varieties that I have. You know, there's all kinds of colors of raspberries. You have black raspberries, you have red raspberries that you're used to seeing in the store. You know, you have yellow raspberries. The yellow ones are not as tart, they don't have as an intense raspberry flavor you would think of. They're more sweet. So I planted one right here. This is a yellow one by the name of I'm not sure. I think it's Fall Gold. So another primocane bearing raspberry. You can see here none of the old canes, you know, none of the floricanes survived, but the primocanes now are coming up. They're not as vigorous as, say, Caroline or Heritage, because this is a younger plant. It didn't establish itself just yet. But next year it'll be just as established, and we'll have a floricane crop off this one, as well as a primocane crop. And I really enjoy the yellow ones. I think I even enjoy them more than the reds. We're also trialing some in containers. You know, I like to grow a lot of things in containers. And you can see this one here is now sort of dying. The primocane crop is now coming through. But this is one that I didn't really get to enjoy too much, but this is a very dark red raspberry. It's almost purple. And with color in all fruits, the color determines the flavor. You know, it's just a fact. That's why lemons are tart and oranges are sweet, right? The color determines the flavor. So having a darker purple red raspberry, I've come to the conclusion that they're actually more tart, more intense raspberry flavor than your standard red variety. So if you're someone who loves that raspberry intensity, this is the kind of raspberry that you want. This one's called Crimson Night. The one next to it is another yellow raspberry, and this one already put out its floricane crop for me. Not a whole lot, but we got the primocane crop now coming up, and all of these guys will fruit for me, even in containers. They'll put out plenty of fruits, and we'll make some evaluations on them. You know, we'll determine what the deal is, if I really like them or not, so that we can maybe get them out of these containers and swap it for one of them in the raised bed. Like I said, Caroline's my favorite red, so Heritage over here on the left would be the first to go if we decided to trial a different variety because we enjoyed the flavor more. And I guess that's another point about these, is that I have them growing in raised beds. This is a 2-foot high raised bed, and I think it really does a nice job of containing them, making sure that the roots, because the roots really love to spread, guys. The roots will spread 20 feet. Sorry for the sun there, but it can go all the way to the neighbor's house, and that would not be good. The neighbors would not be happy. So we even have some canes that have come out of the raised bed, but I find that the raised bed does a really nice job containing the runners that the roots send out. You know, these guys really love to propagate themselves. If this cane here were to touch the ground, it would propagate itself very quickly. You would have a new plant in no time at all. What's nice about these, though, is that you can do that, right? So the problem is you have to contain them. So I have poles in here with wires that keep them, you know, keep them together rather than falling off the end of the raised bed onto the ground, propagating themselves, taking over the yard. But it is nice because if you wanted to propagate a certain variety for yourself, this here is my blackberry. This is another primocane variety. This is a blackberry, though. There's not many primocane blackberry varieties. The Prime Arc Freedom, so the Prime Arc varieties that were bred by the University of Arkansas, those are the varieties you want. I've narrowed it down to Primark Freedom. I've trialed the other ones. Primark 45 has thorns. Can't do it. The thorns on the blackberry are insane. Nowhere near as tough as the raspberry here. You know, I can touch this with little problem. But the blackberry thorns, guys, holy hell. So that's what we're going to do with this one here. Primark Freedom, I've decided, is the better of the three. I'm blanking on the... there's Primark Traveler, there's Primark Freedom, there's Primark 45, and I think there's another one, actually. But I found that Primark Freedom does really well. It's going to ripen soon for me. You can see that the blackberries here are forming on the Primacane crop. So on the new canes that have come up. The Floricane crop I had taken down. I really did. I took it down. You can mow them over. So that's the nice thing about having a Primacane variety, is that if you so choose, you can decide to only have a second crop. And by only having a second crop, you can have these raspberries or blackberries ripen at different times of the year. So my raspberries are quite continuous, and for whatever reason they seem to avoid the fruit fly population that we seem to accumulate sometime in a couple weeks here and into August. But the blackberries, they seem to be hit really hard last year, and I'm trying a different strategy this year to see if I can avoid that by only using the Primacanes. And I think that's going to work. We'll have to see. It also controls the size, right? So, you know, these are much taller. You can see here. These are about 7 to 8 feet tall, some of the new Primacanes. If I didn't cut these back, you know, and I left the Floricane crop here, guys, the Primacanes on the blackberries grow so quickly that they may even be 10 feet tall, as tall as these poles. I'm not even exaggerating. They're very vigorous plants. They take up a lot of space, so I'm just overall preferring the way that I'm training these guys. So that's kind of it, you know. We tasted the blackberries, we talked about varieties. I'm sorry, we tasted the raspberries, you know, we talked about varieties, we talked about how to grow them in a way, we didn't talk about how to prune them, but there's many videos on that, guys. I like to just limit 5 canes from the base, 5 new Primacanes from the base, and that's it. Everything else should be taken out. As you can see, that's kind of what I did here. We have 1 cane here, 2, 3, 4, and this one here is a 5th. That's not doing so hot, or maybe this is the 5th. But that does a really nice job of containing them, getting really good production out of them. There's a few more strategies you can employ to train them, to prune them, you know, but I find that just having some wire set up at 3 different levels here will keep them contained, keep them from taking over your yard. The raised bed prevents a lot of the runners from spreading out to your neighbor's yard or spreading out to places you don't want them. And overall, the fruit is just very, very good. We talked about protecting them from the birds. So grow some raspberries, guys. Grow some blackberries. Don't just settle for the standard red raspberry here. There's many different varieties out there of different colors, of different flavors that you can have and grow at home that you're never going to get at the store. So I'll leave you guys, and I'll see you all for the next one. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you enjoyed this one. I know I did. And I'll see you guys for the next one.